It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
This is AJ Allmendinger, driver of the number 47 Chevy. You're listening to The Front Stretch.
Well, good morning to you, race fans, and welcome to The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. Fast-paced, white-knuckle racing just across the river, 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs. And get to Joe's today, do yourself a little bit of racing, and enjoy all the indoor karting you can for 2017. Get yourself a Premier membership, and you can get some great discounts on race packages and bulk buys. I always like doing that kind of stuff, is buying in bulk, especially at Joe's Karting, because then the races just stay on my account, and I can go in whenever I want to and do a little bit of racing.
Is it like Amazon Prime? Do you get free shipping?
I don't know if you get free shipping. I guess I've never checked. I'm not sure what they have to ship to me, but
Yeah, better check the website.
maybe my underwear. Every once in a while, it scares them right off me when I go through those corners at the high speeds. Joe'sKarting.com. Again, and if you miss, there's a lot of great how-to videos on Joe's Karting's YouTube page. I highly suggest you log in. If you haven't created yourself an account yet, do so. You can use your Gmail account if you have one. And subscribe to the Joe's Karting page. You'll get updates when they upload new hour information, new hours information, special holiday information, special packages, how-to videos, client testimonials, and then you'll also get updates when we post our shows on YouTube. And I do apologize to everybody. Had a little bit of a technical glitch with last weekend's show. Everyone was excited to hear the extended version of the Jack Dover interview, and for some reason, I have no idea why. This is kind of one of those weird things. Only 8 minutes and 47 seconds of the show got loaded on Sunday morning, so we had to wait till Monday morning till our friends over at Creative Element can fix what I did wrong and get the show up correctly. So it's up there now, and all of our interviews are up there. So make sure you head over to the Joe's Karting YouTube page, and you can catch all the great action, all the great interviews that the Front Stretch has to offer, and information that Joe's Karting has to offer.
Yep, and also if anybody's looking, I do know that I was recently on there, and Joe's Karting is looking to hire a little help. They've got some part-time stuff open.
Oh, what a fun place that'd be to work at.
Yeah, every 8 hours you work, you get a free race.
Sign me up. Sign me up. Let's talk about the race last weekend. Preview for today's show. We will recap the race at Martinsville from last weekend. We will sit down with Pat Warren, president of Kansas Speedway, in turn number 2 to talk about their parking that they have available now and everything that's going to be going on for the Go Bowling 400 coming up May 13th at Kansas Speedway.
I think they need another SpongeBob 400 myself.
What a cool race that was. Turn number 3, we will sit down with McKenna Haase, driver over at Knoxville Raceway. We'll find out what's going on with McKenna and everything that she's got going on. And then at turn number 4, we will preview the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas TMS today. Coverage on Fox and on PRN starting at 1 o'clock with the green flag scheduled to be at about 1:30. So again, that's all coming up today. Pat Warren, McKenna Haase lined up, along with a recap from Martinsville and preview of Texas. Let's get into the recap from Martinsville. Dirk, thoughts on Martinsville?
I think we found our first little incident, controversy possible type situation at the end of a stage with that, I believe it was the second stage where Ricky Stenhouse bumped the leader to get back on the lead lap, and then that caused the leader to lose the stage also.
Yeah, this is something that we've been meaning to talk about. We've said at the beginning of the year, let's wait 5 races to talk about how the stage racing is working and our thoughts on it. Well, we missed it. We've been busy with interviews, and it looks like we're going to have a pretty packed couple of weeks. Maybe on the extended YouTube version, we'll talk about this, give our thoughts on the stage racing, but absolutely, what happened at the end of that second stage, I think, is one of the prime reasons why NASCAR introduced this. They want more competition coming up to the end of these stages so that drivers like Ricky Stenhouse Jr., how important is it to stay on the lead lap at Martinsville?
Oh, it's huge.
And especially coming to, at a caution. I remember one race a couple of years ago, Tony Stewart was about to go a lap down, and he was racing Denny Hamlin hard, and the caution came out, and he happened to stay on the lead lap. Tony came over the radio and said, hey, listen, it's nothing personal. I just had to stay on the lead lap, and he actually came back and won that race later on in the night. So,
well, the whole thing with Stenhouse, though, is Stenhouse was going to get the lucky dog in about 500 or about 300 feet once they went past the start-finish line and threw the caution flag. So,
well, he didn't. I completely agree with what Ricky did. Coming into turn 3, there was 2 cars in front of Kyle Busch that Kyle could have lapped coming out of turn 4 and coming to the end of the stage that would have taken the lucky dog away from Ricky Stenhouse.
Okay.
So Ricky said, I got to drive it in there, and I've got to get this lap back, or at least be in the position to be able to get past whoever he laps next. I got to be on the lead lap or in the lucky dog position, and that got Kyle Busch's car upset when he made contact with him and going into 3, and then Chase Elliott was able to squeeze by.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time it's happened. Like I said, it took a few races, and it's going to happen more. But it's going to happen on the short tracks. It's going to happen at Richmond. It's going to happen at Bristol. Yeah. It's not going to happen this week at Texas, I don't think. You're not going to bump somebody at $180.
Right,
know?
And the tough thing is, I think this stage racing is really conducive to the fans in the seats at the track, because you can see the positions 3, 4 through 10, and 8th through 12th. You can look at them and see who's really battling the last couple of laps. When we're sitting at home watching it on our couch, we can only see what the TV shows us, and that's usually only 1 or 2 positions at a time. Maybe sometimes they can do that split screen. You can see a couple of battles, but I think that what we've missed with this West Coast swing, what we're going to miss at the 1.5-mile tracks because we're sitting at home watching it, is what you would pick up on if you were there at the track, because you've talked about it. At Kansas, the leader gets strung out and the field gets a little strung out, but everywhere on the track there's battles going on that the TV kind of has an obligation to focus on the leaders or the big stories, as to where you don't get to see those battles back in 15th, 20th in that area.
Yeah, well, they're going to start, I think, because this is new to them too, trying to produce this, with the stage racing. But if there's a good battle going for 5th place or 6th place, and the rest of it strung out a little bit, you'll see the camera go into that more.
Yeah, absolutely. So the stage racing, it was put on display perfectly at Martinsville. We saw some great battles, some really hard racing. And Dirk, did you ever think somebody would say that the middle groove has come in at Martinsville?
I've seen it happen before. A lot of that just depends on exactly what tire the guys have got, and if the tire will hang up there, the guys can drive there, but normally the tire won't. And
Kyle Busch seemed to love this tire right up until his last set.
Yep.
Which is pretty typical of Kyle Busch. If he didn't win the race, he's going to find something to blame. It's the part that you have to take with his love of competition. What makes him such a great competitor also makes him such a sore loser.
Yeah, but the lap times prove it. He's not going to go out there and give the race away, so he was still trying.
Yeah. And what a great battle going down those last, we saw for the last 30 laps when the cautions kept coming out, and him and Kyle were having, or him and Keselowski were having such a great battle. Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski are having such a great battle because Kyle had great short run speed. Keselowski's car came in late, but man, Kyle would not let him go until that last time when he was able to finally start to put distance between him and Kyle was blaming it on a poor set of tires.
Yep. And then it also read a nice little article this week with Dale Jr. and Blaney and their little dust up, and Dale said, well, we're still friends, but he doesn't get any more free beer, and that's just a deal with a young kid, trying to make his mark.
I kind of felt like Blaney was getting bounced around by a lot of guys.
He was, but, like when him and Earnhardt got together, it was Earnhardt that got the tire cut down, a lap later and stuff like that. But they, you might want to watch some of that maybe up here coming up with Bristol and Richmond. If there's anything anywhere close between those two. Like Dale Jr. said in this article that I read that we just shouldn't race around each other for a few weeks.
Well, they're going to get a break today. Maybe they'll get a break. It seems like whenever these guys have any kind of a disagreement or a feud, I don't think it's bad blood between the two. They're just kind of rough on each other. They seem to get stuck around each other a lot, like Kyle Busch and Joey Logano.
No, you just notice it more.
Okay, that's probably true. Let's talk about running down the top 10 finishers at Martinsville. Brad Keselowski gets the win with a great end-of-the-run speed on his car. Kyle Busch comes home runner-up. Chase Elliott, then Joey Logano and Austin Dillon with the top 5. Another great finish for A.J. Allmendinger at the short tracks. We talked about it last weekend going into the race. Maybe the Dinger, somebody you wanted to look into for that weekend's race. You might want to consider him at Bristol or maybe even when they go back to Martinsville because he's showing that he's got strength at the short tracks. Another good top 10 finish for Clint Bowyer as he comes home in 7th, Ryan Newman in 8th, Matt Kenseth 9th. Hey, Matt Kenseth! finished a race. He didn't finish in the wall.
Well, and he ran in the top 5 quite a bit,
yeah,
too.
He did. Very good run for him. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. rounded out your top 10. Your stage finishers, Martin Truex Jr. won stage number 1. Chase Elliott won stage number 2, and of course, like we said, Brad Keselowski won the final stage, the end of the race, and walked home with 55 points on the day. The driver who finished the race as your winner walked home with the most points on the day, and then again, Brad Keselowski. So he's locked himself into the chase, and he took home 5 playoff bonus points.
And hard luck drivers with Denny Hamlin and Dale Jr.
Yeah.
They definitely had top 10 cars and just got tangled up there at the end. When you get yourself in the back and you race with the squirrels, you're going to get your nuts cracked every once in a while.
Kurt Busch finished 37th, Jamie McMurray 38th. Too bad for Jamie. I don't know why they didn't pull him in. I mean, I realize being a couch potato crew chief gives me the right to say they should have done it, especially after he spun and took his car out. But, I mean, that amount of smoke, you got to bring that car in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But they made the choice that, they were hoping somebody else would be the caution.
Heavy contact is what made the fender kind of flare down onto the tire. When he went into the corner, I mean, it was like somebody was spraying bug spray. I mean, it was just thick as a campfire smoke. And they went around for a couple of laps, and finally that tire gave loose, and Jamie turned it around into the wall and ended his day. Again, Jamie finished 38th, Kurt Busch finished 37th, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 34th, Daniel Suarez 32nd, Denny Hamlin 30th, Ryan Blaney 25th. After Blaney had a very good day, had a rough day, had a rough end to his day.
Yeah, once you get down a lap at Martinsville, unless you're in the lucky dog and get that lap back, it's real tough sledding.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back in turn number 2. We will sit down with Pat Warren, track president for track president for Kansas Speedway. We'll be back here on the front stretch.
The NHRA Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series is headed back to Topeka. Feel the power that pummels the senses with 10,000 horsepower at speeds over 330 miles per hour. Every ticket's a pit pass at the Menards NHRA Heartland Nationals, presented by Minties, May 19th through 21st at Heartland Park, Topeka. Kids 12 and under are free in general admission. Get tickets early and save at NHRA.com/tickets or call 800-884-NHRA. Ignite your senses.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the front stretch.
Hey, this is Matt Kenseth, and you're listening to The Front Stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch. Heading into turn number 2, brought to you by Kansas Speedway. Tickets for the Toyota Tundra 250 Truck Series race Friday, May 12th, and the Go Bowling 400 Cup Series race Saturday, May 13th at Kansas Speedway are available now. Call 866-460-RACE or go to kansasspeedway.com. And what more appropriate way to kick off a turn sponsorship for the first week by Kansas Speedway than to have the track president on and talk about some of the happenings that are going on the May 12th and 13th for the NASCAR weekends. Pat Warren joining us on the show. Pat, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Always love talking to you, and you elevated into one of our top 5 interviews when we sat in the media center. I think it was at the October race or the May race.
It was the May race.
Because yeah, that's right. And you gave us about 45 minutes of your time, and I tell you, I learned so much about being a track president that I don't think I'll ever apply as being one. You don't have to worry about me coming after your job.
People ask sometimes if I run the Speedway, and usually I say I run from it. So I can't blame you. So.
Well, you guys have quite the weekend coming up. Obviously, we just talked about it, the Toyota Tundra 250 Truck Series race on Friday, May 12th. That's a Friday night race. And the cool thing with that new initiative by NASCAR is that all kids 12 and under get into that Truck Series race for free, so that we're trying to get the younger audience back in.
Yeah, it really is a neat initiative, and it was great that the industry, embraced it nationally, because it was something that NASCAR came to us with. And in our case, it was a little bit of a challenge because a lot of our season ticket holders will buy a full price ticket and bring kids. Mm-hmm. And so, it was something where you sort of look beyond your short-term economic interest and really look to the future of the sport. And it's really, I think, a healthy thing for the sport. and really cements our position as one of the most family-friendly and financially family-friendly sports in the country.
Because we've got something going up here through the radio show with the fantasy contest where we're going to have a couple of our listeners are going to be crewing for a day for the 63 truck of the Mittler brothers out of St. Louis area there, and they're going to get quite the unique experience on Friday.
That's really neat. You know, of course, Mike Mittler has a long history, associated with us and Carl Edwards. He's the one that really gave Carl his shot. And started him in racing, and that sounds like a really cool opportunity.
Yeah, he also gave another local down there. He gave Jamie McMurray his start in the Truck Series, who's, also a Cup regular these days.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he was tied with Jamie. I knew Carl had told me about how he got connected to Mike, but I didn't realize Jamie was as well.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool experience. Real excited about it. Dirk got us kicked off last October with that at Kansas Speedway, and you guys were gracious enough to help us out with it. And our winners last year had a tremendous time, so we're bringing it back for the May race, and we're excited to be a part of it.
Cool.
Well, Pat, let's talk about this. You guys announced about midway last week that you've got some new parking available, and this is a big deal. I mean, to anybody that has never been to a NASCAR race, you got to bring your A game when you're parking at a NASCAR track, because it could be quite the trek to the front of the concourse with how big these parking lots are. So you guys are offering up some sort of a reprieve to that.
Yeah, all of our parking is free, and one of the reasons we're able to do that is that our parking lots aren't paved. And when you don't have paved parking lots, people don't park as densely, so there's plenty of room for tailgating for anybody, whether you want to pay or not. But what we've given people with this new option is the opportunity to pay for a premium parking spot. I think we're calling it VIP tailgating. And what you're going to get is a space that's about a car and a half wide. And so it's about a typical parking space plus 50%, and then about 3 times as deep. And that'll be a third of it will be on pavement and 2/3 of it will be on grass. But even the bigger deal about it, I think that people will come to appreciate, which we really can't explain in our marketing materials, is how easy it is for those people to get in and out of the track. They really literally have almost their own dedicated entrance and exit. And the ability to get in and out quickly if they want to is going to be second to none.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had the first time I came to Kansas Speedway, it was back when you guys just had the June race, and we were driving in, and somebody just gave us a VIP parking pass, and we thought, how cool that's awesome. And we went all the way to the front. We had no real distance to walk to get into it, but then we quickly realized after the race that it was a bit of a double-edged sword because where we didn't have to walk that far in, we had to sit and wait for all the other traffic to file out. So it was about 2 hours afterwards, and we learned our lesson, really, that we should have just post-race tailgated.
Yeah, and a lot of people do that. The event in this lot, of course, if you want to post-race tailgate, you can, but if not, the way this lot has to exit with the way our traffic pattern works, you don't exit with the rest of the crowd. You go out a different way, and we'll share that with people in their parking materials, but they exit physically a different location from the track that will get them out onto State Avenue very, very quickly and back home very, very fast if that's what they want to do.
That's awesome. Yeah. And sorry, go ahead, Dirk.
One of the things I liked about it when I was reading about it was the fact that the taco trucks don't get to pull up in there, or people with their campers and anything like that. It's just the passenger vehicles.
Yeah, that's right. It's something that we're only doing for that. If you're bringing an oversized vehicle or anything, we park all those along the perimeter of the property, and again, you're parking for free. We don't charge anybody, but we do park those on the perimeter so that it doesn't inconvenience people, it doesn't screw up traffic for everybody, and that's really more of an issue post-race than during load-in. Mm-hmm. But after the race, if you've got a giant vehicle in the middle of traffic, it can really create an issue.
There's a lot of options along with that VIP premium tailgating. You also have paid parking in lots 5 and 6. Talk a little bit about that one.
Yeah, we added that. Last year we added season ticket holder parking, and those are 2 of the lots where we added it. And some of the feedback we got was that, hey, I'm not a season ticket holder, but I'd still like to be able to park there. And so we felt like, in fairness to our season ticket holders and in fairness to our longtime PSL customers, it was really something that we ought to charge somebody who wasn't making that season ticket investment with the track to get. And so we're offering that as I think it's a $25 option. It might be $30. I apologize for not knowing.
Yeah, $35.
Okay, $35. And it's good parking. It's right. It's the closest parking up front in terms of our closest lot. It's on the Speedway Boulevard side, which I happen to be looking out from my office into those lots right now. And so it's not the trek that you get from some of our lots. Again, a lot of space for tailgating, and a great atmosphere for those who want it.
Your next one, you're offering up the RV Early Entry Pass. This is going to be available $75 per weekend, and RVs will be allowed to enter early to avoid longer lines.
Yeah, this was an interesting one. We got feedback from our team in California that they were getting a lot of requests from their campers for this kind of a service. And so we pulled our campers and found out the same thing. And California sort of tested the program last year and charged this amount for it. And so we decided we would try it. And it's really for people who want to get into their spot a little bit early. Maybe they feel a little bit challenged with the size of their motor coach, or they've got a fifth wheel or whatever it may be, and they want to be able to get into that spot before the rest of the customers load in and they're trying to squeeze in between two RVs or something like that. Or they just want to get set up a little bit early. They want to start their weekend off just a little bit sooner than other people. They'll enter physically the same entrance as everybody else. We separate them then to a different area for inspection, and then they'll get to go in about 90 minutes before the rest of the RV crowd.
And is that load-in? So this is going to be a Friday, Saturday weekend. Will that be available on the Thursday or the Wednesday before?
I believe we load those folks in on Thursday morning.
Okay.
And anybody that has an RV will get all that information in their packet. And I should know that off the top of my head, but I don't. But I believe it's a Thursday morning load-in.
That sounds about right.
For this weekend, yeah.
Your last one, Lot 25 passes. Campers can now purchase an additional lot for the race weekend. So, giving them some more options to be able to expand what they're doing.
Right. This Lot 25 is an interesting thing. It sits over on the northeast corner of our property, and it's a lot that we had to create when we built the casino because we didn't realize we had a lot of people who were visiting guests primarily on the infield. And they were staying overnight. And before we built the casino, we had plenty of space sort of behind the backstretch, and people would just sort of park wherever they wanted to, and it wasn't an issue. Well, we built the casino, and, when you knock 100 acres out of your parking lots, all of a sudden people go, well, wait a minute, where do I park? And so we dedicated this Lot 25, which we also use for some employees, security employees park there, and some others. But we're constrained on space. And so it's not an unlimited, it's not a situation where we used to be unlimited. We can't do that. And so in order to sort of manage the space, we figured out that we really need to charge for it because we've got a lot of people who want to come in for the day, but they don't want to spend the night. And this pass that they're buying, everybody gets one who buys an infield pass. But if you want additional ones, then we'd like people to pay for them so we can manage the space and be sure it gets used.
All right, so that's the premium tailgating, the parking, the advance, that kind of stuff. Let's talk about what's going on that Friday and Saturday. Again, the Truck Series is Friday night, and then Saturday is going to be the Cup Series, the Monster Energy Cup Series race weekend. What do you guys have special planned on for fans? I know one of my favorite things is walking around the concourse at Kansas Speedway and seeing everything that's available.
Yeah, the day starts early. We open the parking lots at noon, and then we open the grandstand gates around 3. And so for a 6:30 race, you can get here 6.5 hours before the race for tailgating and whatever you want to do. What we call our display area, the midway behind the grandstands, opens at noon as well. And so you've got 6 hours of activity out there. At 3 o'clock when we open the grandstand gates, we also shortly after that open what we call the crossover gate. For anybody who's got a pre-race pass, they can go down for a pre-race concert. We've got driver introductions. They can walk on the track. They can sign the start-finish line. They can walk through fan walk. Some of our season ticket holders get garage tours. There are some really neat things you can do. And even for what I'd call, the average fan and the average fan experience, if you either are a season ticket holder and you get the pre-race pass as part of your ticket package, or if you want to buy a pre-race pass, if you're not a season ticket holder, you can get closer to NASCAR and closer to the action than any professional sport anywhere in the world, and especially here at Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, it really is crazy to see how close as a person who's never been to a NASCAR race before, you have no idea how close you can actually get to these guys. I mean, you're within 5 feet of the tech inspection line when you're in the infield looking through that stuff. Drivers, team owners, sanctioning body members, they're all walking through this area, coming and going, and you can get some amazing autographs, amazing conversation. You can meet some really cool people.
Yeah, and, usually we've got Q&A sessions and other things going on. The drivers meeting, now that we do in a tent behind the media center, is a huge opportunity for fans to see the drivers. I'm always cautious about, I don't want everybody to think they're going to come and get Danica Patrick and Dale Jr.'s autograph because, it's not physically possible for folks like that to sign every autograph that people want. But if you get here early enough, you stake out your position, you are going to get to see your heroes. And there's a good chance, Danica, I've walked with her through our red carpet area and out to the pre-race stage. I've never seen her pass a young woman or a girl who was holding out something for an autograph. Even if she's in a hurry, she always tries to stop and sign stuff for girls. It's really neat to see. And Dale and Jimmy and the big stars of our sport, they do everything they can. Again, they can't sign for everybody. They can't stop for everybody, or they'd never be able to get in the car and race. But they do the best they can to really connect with our fans.
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw that, I was lucky enough to get to work the actual first race down there back in June of 2001. And when I saw that, I really, that really lit up. It was like, that is really cool. A real genius idea to get the fans that much exposure. And we were just there with a Winston West race and I think an ARCA race for that weekend. But it was just
that would have been
crazy.
the opening weekend.
Yeah, it was nuts.
And actually access it sort of went on a curve since then. I wasn't at that event, but it was probably pretty good. And then towards the middle part of the 2000s, it got really tough as the sport exploded and we were trying to manage security and other things. Of course, 9/11 occurred right before our first Cup race, and so that really locked things down. But now we're sort of at the other end, where the industry really understands the need to connect drivers to fans and connect the stars of the sport to the people who make the sport happen, which is our fan base.
Yeah.
And so it really is a unique experience in professional sports.
Yeah, that first race I got to work, the Winston West race, I was going to work in the scoring department and do pit-ins with a clipboard, and I'm sitting out there in a chair at the beginning of pit road, and here come like three guys walking up to me all with a beer in their hand. I was radioing up the tower, hey, are we allowed to have beer down here on pit road? And they said, no. Well, I said, if you look right next to me with binoculars, you'll see these three guys here. So how they snuck through or where they came from, I had no idea, and it was. But in California, they could do that because we were there with IRL, and they allowed alcohol in their garage.
Yeah, well, and their garage is cold because the cars don't drive out onto the grid; they get towed out onto the grid by those, sort of very sophisticated-looking golf carts, tow bar. But NASCAR, those cars, as you know, those cars come in and out at about 55, 60 miles an hour, and so you don't want anybody with a delayed reaction time in the garage or worried about spilling their drink. And again, you can have soft drinks and water and other things, but no alcohol in the NASCAR garages.
Kansas race weekend, May 12th and 13th. You can bring a soft-sided cooler in to bring some sandwiches, to bring some refreshments in with you. That's one of the cool things I love about Kansas Speedway.
They've got great food.
That's it's a very good food available there. Get there early and see everything that has to be seen. I am a proud owner of a 2016 Chevy Colorado because I went out to the Chevy display out of Kansas Speedway and found one, and I fell in love with it. So what I saw on Sunday in Kansas, I bought on Monday.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I've heard some fans even use those coolers to bring in beer. I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard that occasionally happens.
Interesting. That's a concept I was not aware of.
Yeah, you can't bring in no glass bottles.
Right. It's got to be collapsible.
The only thing we don't allow is no glass inside the container.
Good call.
It's got to be in a can. So as long as you bring it in a can, we're not going to be too discriminating about what it is.
KansasSpeedway.com or 866-460-RACE. Track President Pat Warren joining us again. Pat, we always do love talking to you. Can't wait to see you down in May.
Hey, I look forward to seeing you guys, and I really appreciate you having me on.
Anytime.
Thanks, Pat.
All right, thank you.
So again, 866-460-RACE. We want to say thanks to Kansas Speedway for jumping on board and sponsoring the front stretch for the month of April and helping us out with a little bit of support there. And a bit, of course, doing the Crewman for a Day contest.
There you go. I mean, that was big last year, and they requested it this year. And they don't know what they requested yet, but we're bringing it.
It's often the case with us. People are like, hey, why don't you guys get involved? And then afterwards, they're like, oh, God, what did we do? Yeah. KansasSpeedway.com. Again, for the Truck Series race, kids 12 and under get in for free. For the Cup Series race, I believe, I could not find much information on it, but I believe that there are discount tickets available for kids under 12, so you're not going to pay the full price Cup Series race. You're actually going to pay like a discount. I believe it's somewhere around $15 for kids. There are kids 12 and under options. You got to search around and find them, but they are available, and I was seeing tickets during, the nosebleed section, to adult tickets for $29. You really can't beat that for a night race.
Well, and at Kansas Speedway, I have never sat in the grandstand. So I'm not speaking from myself, but I'm speaking from friends that have. They've sat in the first row, the top row, everywhere in between. They say you can see the whole track. I've been in the grandstand at like Texas Motor Speedway. If you aren't above like row 32, you don't see the back straightaway.
Absolutely.
But at Kansas Speedway, the way they designed it, the way the stands are built, you can sit in the bottom row and see the whole track.
Yeah.
So the only thing you might get, depending on where you're sitting at the bottom row, is you might get a little more of the smoke and a little bit of tire rubber, maybe a marble or two thrown up at you. But don't be afraid to sit down in the front. And, really, when you sit close like that, you really feel the speed of the car when it goes by.
Yeah. I always love when we're able to go through the tunnel walk. I don't know if you've ever gone over there with me, but there's a section as you're coming out of the tunnel, going into the grandstands, and you're climbing up this big flight of stairs. There's a section it's right next to the catch fence, and I love standing there during a restart and just watching the roar and the scream, and you can hear the cars move, and it's the most exhilarating thing you will ever experience in your life. And I'm telling you, you will not find any better experience for $29. $29. And go buy the nosebleed seats. Hey, listen, here's a little bit of a secret. You can move seats. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I buy tickets to go to the IndyCar race at Iowa Speedway every year. I'm not paying $130. I don't have that kind of income. I'm buying the $15 tickets, and I'm moving, and me and my girlfriend are going to move to the section that we love, which is section 209. We love sitting over in that section. The people are always friendly. It's up high enough. It's a great experience. Buy the cheap tickets and then move around throughout the race.
Yeah, if there's a seat that's open, go sit in it. I'd like to see the track sell out.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I think it'd be great for the sport. But I'm a realist, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Well,
so if you buy a ticket, you can. I'm not going to say you can sit where you want, because there's other people are going to buy tickets too. But you've got a lot of options on where you sit.
Yeah, people can bash NASCAR all you want to, but I don't care what sport it is. It's pretty difficult to sell 95,000 seats, and I believe that's what Kansas's capacity was at before they started shrinking down a little bit. They haven't removed seats like other places have, but they have removed sections from sale so that it's shrunk down a little bit. I would imagine now they're probably selling somewhere around 65,000 seats. And so there's probably, the October race, I think there was right around probably 50, maybe 60,000 seats sold. It was a nice one. The May race was a little bit rougher. I remember we were looking at the grandstands going, oof, that's tough. But again, it's a great racetrack to go and experience. Quite honestly, for me, the race is secondary. It's everything that I can experience the night before, the day before the race, the day of the race, all things pre-race to go and see the driver introductions. And by the way, we didn't mention this with Pat on the phone, but military members, retired or active, get free race passes. Free track passes when they buy their ticket. There's a special section on the website that says military availability. Click on that section, fill out your branch of the military, what you were in, and then when you purchase your tickets, you're going to get free passes to go down onto the track pre-race and watch the driver introductions, to go see all the cars lined up on pit road ahead of time, to be able to walk through the garages. You'll get some special stuff. So a lot of really cool things going on.
Well, and I know when we were there in the fall of 2015, we were hanging out with David Starr for a little bit, and he had a military gentleman come up with his two little boys, and David invited them up in and gave them some hats and signed all their hats. And, the drivers are very appreciative of the military. And
I'll tell you this, too. They were talking about it. It's difficult to get access to Dale Earnhardt Jr., Danica Patrick, Jimmy Johnson. Those guys are pretty tough to get in contact with. I guarantee you will not have trouble getting in contact with your favorite Camping World Truck Series driver. Those guys' availability is much easier. It's much more relaxed. Go down on Friday. Have yourself a weekend away from all the hustle and bustle. And if you go out and you meet Matt Crafton, he will take time and talk to you. Guys like drivers like Danica Patrick and Dale Earnhardt Jr., they just don't have time. They want to, but they don't have time. Matt Crafton, he'll take the time. He has the time to be able to talk to you because his schedule is much more relaxed.
Much more relaxed. And the whole deal, they don't have the pressure. They don't have the – they've got sponsors they got to cater to, and they all want to win. They're still race drivers. But they don't have the sponsor pressure and the media pressure that the Cup drivers have.
KansasSpeedway.com or call 866-460-RACE. We'll be back here in turn number 3 to talk with McKenna Haase.
Need a reason to be at Kansas Speedway when NASCAR returns on May 13th? Here's some. Reason number 18, the friction fueling phenom Kyle Busch. Reason number 48, 7-time champ Jimmy Johnson versus 14, Kansas's own Clint Boyer, grinding and battling at 180 miles per hour. Kinda hits you right in the adrenaline maker. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Go Bowling 400, live Saturday night, May 13th. Tickets at kansasspeedway.com.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100 plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the front stretch.
Hey, I'm Joey Logano, driver number 22, Shell Penzo Ford, and you're listening to The Front Stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch, heading into turn number 3, and it's brought to you by the Menards NHRA Heartland Nationals, presented by Minities at Heartland Park in Topeka. May 19th, 20th, and 21st. Get your tickets today by calling 1-800-884-NHRA or going to heartlandpark.com. Joining us on the phone, the driver of the number 55 305 at Knoxville Raceway, McKenna Haase. How you doing, ma'am?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. It's been a long/short off season. It's only been a couple of months, but it sure feels like a lot longer.
Yes, it actually has been probably one of the fastest off seasons of my career, just because we had a lot going on and we kept busy trying to prepare for this season. So luckily, it wasn't too painful.
Yeah, it's for us. You know, we're commentators, announcers, fans. It's, you know, when the races end for me in October, there's really nothing that goes on. But for you drivers, it's got to get your cars ready to go. You got to get new parts ordered, upgraded, engines refreshed. You got to find new sponsors. You got to go out and do appearances. I mean, it never ends.
Oh, yes, definitely. We've been doing all of that this off season. And lots of changes for our team, too, so lots of work.
Not to mention, you're also trying to get that college education thing.
Yes, I am a full-time finance major at Drake University.
I had a tough time just being a full-time student, better yet, trying to run a race program.
Yes, it's definitely not easy for sure.
Well, finance, that's a good career to go into. You get to deal with rich people and all their money and trying to get them to give it to you.
Yeah, but the plan for now is to be a race car driver.
Well, that's a good option. I mean, if anything falls out, then you could just come be an accountant, or you can come give me stock advice. I don't know how that's going to benefit you, but...
Yes, I'm more into the investing side of things.
By the way, a little bit of conversation. I've started investing in the stock market.
Great.
Did you open an account with Wealth Partners?
A buddy of mine turned me on to an Android Apple app. It's called Robinhood, and it's a free stock trading. Yeah, I was doing good until AMD, the processor company, decided to take a fall today, and now I'm down. So
did they cut a tire and going into turn 2?
So my investment club purchased AMD and made had a pretty good return on it, actually.
Yeah, it was a buddy of mine turned me onto it. He said the stock's at at that time it was right around, I think, $10 a share. He bought a couple of them, and then I bought into them at $13. They did great at the end of yesterday. They were sitting up at the end of Wednesday. They were up around $14.50 a share, so I was looking good. And then all of a sudden, the markets opened up on Thursday, and it took a tank, and it dropped down to $12.75. So I'm not doing good.
You're all right. You'll be all right.
Cost averaging, you got to buy more shares now that it's got cheaper.
Yeah, I gotta be patient, right? I gotta stay calm and not freak out.
Yes.
All right. So
Warren Buffett always says the stock market is a method for transferring money from the impatient to the patient.
That's one way to look at it.
Speaking of him, did you see the HBO documentary on him that aired a couple of months ago?
I've watched it 5 times, and I tear up every time.
How amazing. Isn't that such an awesome piece?
Yes, I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, that's actually one of the other pieces that got me to kind of moving towards actually buying the stuff. I thought, well, I mean, the guy just gets up every morning and just reads. I mean, I'm not much of a reader, but I can kind of pay attention to the things here and there. And
you've got to know
someday,
how to read, Dan.
Well, that's a good point. He's got that on me. But yeah, that's and in case anybody out there that's listening doesn't know, one of McKenna's kind of mentors or heroes, someone she looks up to is Warren Buffett, and that's kind of one of the other reasons why you're into finance and stock markets.
Yes, I was into the stock market long before I found out about Warren when I was like 14, but he definitely propelled me even further into the industry.
All right, let's get back to the what's going on with the 55 this year. You said you've had a lot of changes in the off season. Can you let us in on what's going on?
Yes, I can. So we are racing 360 full time this year.
Woo! Yes.
So I'll be running for Rookie of the Year at Knoxville, and hopefully doing some Sprint Invader races, traveling around the Midwest. And what else is new? I have a new crew chief this year. I have some new merchandise lines that are some of my favorites that we've ever done. I have a new primary sponsor, Mid-American Energy, and that's my only new primary, but we have our other primaries back on board still. And I guess Eagle out of Lincoln is building my chassis this year, so we're partnered with Eagle. Klug Insurance Services is a new partner of ours as well, so we're excited.
So moving up into the 360s, does that mean there's going to be some ASCS stuff and maybe some of the what's the other sprint car series?
Nebraska 360s.
There we go, Nebraska 360s.
Yes, we do hope to travel as much as possible. I went ahead and put 8 states on the schedule, but we're probably not going to get to everything just because of the budget, but I would like to definitely travel as much as we possibly can.
And so you said you will be hitting a couple of Nebraska 360 shows?
Yes, I hope to race McCool there towards the end of the year and hit up some of those, hopefully. My dad's from Nebraska, so we definitely want to try to get over there because we haven't been able to at the 305. So we have a big fan club over there that wants to come watch.
Yes, you do. I know every time that we do interviews with you, our Facebook page goes through the roof with people in our area wanting to know what's going on with you. So we love having you come over this way and do a little bit of racing.
Oh, yeah. I would love to make it over there.
So Mid-America Energy is one of your new sponsors, huh? That's a cool one.
Yeah, it is definitely cool. It's a subsidiary of Berkshire Hathaway Energy, and amazing people to work with over there. So definitely excited to have them on board and at the racetrack.
So you're going to run the car on propane then?
Yeah.
Natural gas?
Are you going to have a wind turbine sitting up in your pits and charging the car up?
No, I wanted to put one on the car, though, but there's not one up there yet.
Maybe something for the hauler in the middle of the year. You could put one up.
Yeah, maybe.
There's a breeze that goes through Knoxville, isn't there? That goes through that raceway. Is there a breeze?
Yeah, it's the cars going by with the wings making the wind. That's what it is.
Yeah, for sure. There you go.
I was gonna say because you could. I mean, this isn't very probably logistic option, but you could put a small wind turbine on top of your hauler and generate a little bit of power, so you're not using a generator, a gas generator.
Yeah, I mean that's over my head, but I mean, yeah, if somebody wanted to figure that out, sure.
Dan, what part didn't you hear when she said she does finance?
That's a good point. Just go to the store and pick up a fan. All you got to do is reverse engineer it. See, I just got myself an elliptical a couple of weeks ago, and as I'm working out on it, I'm thinking, I wonder if there's a way that I could reverse this whole operation or I can generate power back into my house. I got to get a lot smarter.
There you go.
But just right now, all I get to do is talk on the radio. So you're going to be kicking things off here in a couple of weeks with the Knoxville Open House. Looks like you guys practice this coming Friday and Saturday, April 14th and 15th, and then you guys kick off your weekly racing on April 22nd.
No, April 15th.
Yep, you're right, April 15th. Sorry. So the 14th is practice night, and then the 15th is your guys' opening points night. So first time in the 360s, I always love getting kind of an estimate on this. What are your goals for the year? Are you talking about, I need to learn the car this year, we'll focus on wins next year? or are you focused on wins right now?
Well, obviously winning at Knoxville in a 360 is a pretty lofty goal. But I really would like to be competitive, just because that's kind of the type of driver I am. I just don't really like settling for less, even though I am a rookie. So I definitely want to kind of align our resources in a way that allows us to be optimally successful at Knoxville,
right?
Whatever that may be. So, I mean, our goal is Rookie of the Year, and the Rookie of the Year class this year will be really good.
Well, of course it'll be good. You're in it.
Well, a lot of the 305 guys came up. So actually, like, the top 3 for sure in points moved up. And so that'll be a tough battle there. But yeah, on the track, I just want to be consistent. Actually, that's something that I'm striving for this year, because in the 305 in the past, we haven't had the opportunity to race all that much year to year, just because we could primarily race at Knoxville. Mm-hmm. And so it put a lot of pressure on the few races that we did race to be really successful in those few races. And in some ways that built good adaptation skills, but at the same time, there wasn't always a whole lot of consistency. And so that's kind of something that I'm shooting for, is I just want to finish races and not tear a lot of stuff up and be consistent, improve every week. And if we can finish up high, that's definitely our goal.
Hey, can you share your secret with us? What's the, how much of a numbers difference is it on that dyno sheet from that 305 to that 360?
It's about, probably about like 140.
No, that's all. I was going to say like 175 to 200, but only 140, 150 is about it.
Yeah, just about. Yep.
Have you gotten much practice in the car yet so far?
We practiced last year a few times, but we're going to do actually quite a bit of practicing before Knoxville. And so hopefully we'll be ready to rock and roll and try some different setups and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to practice and just get a feel for it, get used to the speed, and just get things slowed down a little bit.
So your 305 was named Curtis. Is Curtis going to be continued on, or does the 360 get a new name?
No, I killed Curtis. Yeah. 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 And
Tasha got that scar on her elbow, killing Curtis.
Yeah, that's actually how you got that scar.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, we got some new. We've got 2. Well, one's a repaired Eagle that I raced last year, and then we got a brand new Eagle also, and then we'll have hopefully a couple more on the way. But yeah, they all look the same, and they're all lovely looking. So I don't know how I will differentiate them like I used to the other ones, because the other ones were kind of mismatched.
So you haven't gotten around to naming them yet?
No, not yet. I've been thinking about it, though.
Is this going to be like a luck thing? Like you can't take a boat out on the ocean without a name because it's unlucky, so you got to hit the track with a name for your chassis, right?
Yeah, probably. Historically, they've all started with like a K or a C.
Okay.
So.
Well, maybe I can think of something for you.
Well, was Curtis with a C or a K?
Curtis was with a C.
Well, now you should have Curtis with a K. It's like
Maybe.
Curtis Davis, who's driving the Xfinity Series. Curtis
I got
with
one.
A K.
I got one. Listen, new series, new engine, new. We're going to do a fresh start. Stewart.
Aww.
Stewart.
That's kind of cute.
Yeah. See, that's it's a name of a great driver, name of an amazing cat. My cat's name is Stewart, by the way. And then the other one can be Danica.
His other cat.
Are you for real?
He is serious. He is a Tony Stewart fanatic, and he's going to get another cat that's going to be a Harv.
Yep.
And he's going to find another one. KB, we don't know what that one's going to come up with a name yet. Yeah, I don't want him to call a cat Kurt or Bushy, so he's going to have to come up with something else.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I can call him Clint now, because now Clint's over at Stewart Haase Racing. So.
Well, but you're still going to have someone come for Kurt Busch.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can use Clint and Kurt for yours.
Yeah, I could do that, except I raced Clint Garner, though, so that would be kind of weird.
That would be weird. Okay. All right. We'll keep thinking. Maybe next time we talk to you, when we're over at the at Knoxville in about a month and a half, maybe 2 months, we'll have some names ready for you.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
So, what else is any practice races on your schedule before Knoxville gets kicked off, or is Knoxville going to be the start of it all?
We had Burlington on the schedule, but we ended up not attending just because of all the rain and whatnot. So So that was going to be our practice race, but now we're just going to practice a lot instead. And now, unfortunately, Knoxville is going to be the first race. I definitely wanted to get some other racing in before that, but I guess we're just going to roll.
McKennaHaase.com is the website. Google it for the easiest way to get there. You can get merchandise and information off there, find her full schedule, and help take care of some of her partners, some of her sponsors. McKenna, always do love talking to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I always love being on the show.
Good luck at Knoxville, and again, good luck dealing with Chris Krug this year.
Thank you very much. I'll need it.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Good luck, McKenna.
You too. Bye.
So again, McKennaHaase.com for more information on that. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. Turn number 4. We'll wrap this baby up, and we will preview Texas. Dirk and I'll be back here on the front stretch.
The NHRA Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series is headed back to Topeka. Feel the power that pummels the senses with 10,000 horsepower at speeds over 330 miles per hour. Every ticket's a pit pass at the Menards NHRA Heartland Nationals, presented by Minties, May 19th through 21st at Heartland Park, Topeka. Kids 12 and under are free in general admission. Get tickets early and save at NHRA.com/tickets or call 800-884-NHRA. Ignite your senses. Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Hey everybody, this is Kyle Larson, driver of the Target Chevy number 42, and you're listening to the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch, heading into turn number 4, brought to you by Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs, the official watering hole of the front stretch. Get over to Quaker Steak and Lube today at about 1 o'clock as green flag set to wave for the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. Coverage is on Fox, the main channel, and on PRN starting at about 1 o'clock. Green flag set to wave at about 1:30. Picks for today's contest, both for the season-long and the 5-week contest, the Crewman for a Day contest, are due by 1:30. Now, something I wanted to make sure and point out, because there was a chance we were going to run into this at Martinsville. Picks are due at a posted time regardless of weather conditions. So last year's contests, if the race got delayed due to rain or, in the case of Las Vegas, a sandstorm, then we delayed the due time for picks. But picks are always due at a set time. It never changes. It never gets adjusted. It is according to when NASCAR posts the approximate green flag. So NASCAR always says approximate green flag at 1:30, but it usually actually doesn't wave until 1:45-ish. So picks are due at 1:30. If you want any kind of information, first off, if you're a part of the contest, just pay attention to my emails. Or you can go to the race page on the NASCAR Pools Online website, look at those posted times, but then you've got to convert them to Central Time. So just in case you were wanting to ever know, if a race gets rain delayed, the picks are still due at the posted time.
Yep, it's just easier to do that way because they don't have somebody sitting like Dan or I were always doing last year. If Dan had business going on, I was always there to watch the start of the race, and when that green flag waved, I was sending him an email, no more picks, and he was doing it on his own. But it is a little confusing when you got to convert that Eastern Standard to Central Standard, and just go ahead and pay attention, like Dan said, to his emails. He'll have the local time on there on when the pick needs to be made.
All right, this time last year at Texas Motor Speedway, Kyle Busch walked home with the win. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in second, Joe Logano third, Jimmy Johnson fourth. Chase Elliott rounded out your top 5. Truex Jr., Carl Edwards, Casey Kane, Kurt Busch, and Kevin Harvick your top 10. Rough days for Biffle, Boyer, let's see. No real big names, no real big chase contenders at that time had a bad day. I guess Austin Dillon and Brad Keselowski both finished 19th and 20th respectively. But those were only kind of the rough days, so it was a pretty easy-going day at Texas. And that was, again, for this time last year. For the later race at Texas,
very high-speed track, and with the way some of these mile-and-a-halfs, these tri-ovals have been racing out lately between Charlotte and Atlanta and Texas, do not be surprised if you see a Truex or a Harvick go out and lead a whole bunch of laps. I mean, could be Kyle Busch. There's several of these guys that can lead a lot of laps on a track like this, and that's just the way the race is conducted too. But this is also a track where you could have a lot of pit road penalties.
To that point, Martin Truex Jr., who ended up finishing 6th, led 141 laps on the day. Carl Edwards led 124 laps on the day. Everybody else was kind of sporadically around. Kyle Busch led 34 laps, led 2 times for 34 total laps on the day. For the Fall Texas race, Carl Edwards got the win, followed by Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr., Chase Elliott, and Kyle Busch. Again, Kyle with another top 10 finish. Again, with your point, Dirk, Joey Logano, who finished runner-up, led 171 of the 293 laps.
It was rain-shortened.
Looks like that race was rain-shortened,
That was when Carl stayed on the track and got the win through the rain-shortened, which got him in the Final Four.
Then finishing out your top 10, Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, Casey Kane, Denny Hamlin, and Ryan Newman, again, finishing out your top 10 for the Fall Texas race. So that's how those 2 races line up. Dirk, what are you thinking for today? You were talking about Texas being kind of a pretty fast, or it's a long, fast track.
Very fast. One of the most spectacular crashes I've ever seen in all the races that I've watched, and who knows how many that is, would be when Michael McDowell crashed in qualifying at Texas in the Aaron's Dream Machine, the 99 car several years ago, and just a horrendous tumble down through turns 1 and 2 and a big fire, and stepped out of the car that looks like it came out of the crusher. That car was a mess.
Yeah.
But he got out and walked away, none the worse for wear, which does speak a lot to NASCAR's safety standards. But still, very fast track. A race that I worked there one time with one of the truck races. I had Dennis Setzer, and his right rear tire guy missed a lug nut, but I made him get it on before he went back out. And Dennis came out to the race, the following race we had, and said, thank you for making him put that on, especially at Texas.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. I want to say a big thank you to Pat Warren, track president for Iowa Speedway, for joining us in Turn 2, and thank you to McKenna Haase, driver of the number 55, now 360 sprint car at Knoxville Raceway. She'll be hitting some of the ASCS Midwest shows and the Nebraska 360 shows over in the Knoxville area. So thanks to those 2 for joining us. Again, coverage today on Fox and PRN at 1 o'clock. Get over to Quaker Steak and Lube for all the delicious food. Dirk, they keep putting out some of those posts on Facebook of some of the food they have. It makes a fat guy just want to drive right over to Quaker Steak and Lube and add a couple more pounds to my waist. Do it. Do yourself right. Get over to Quaker Steak and Lube. You can watch the race. You can hop over to Joe's Karting and have yourself a little bit of fun.
And that's what you ought to do with your elliptical, is go ahead and put some wheels on it and pedal that bad boy on over to Quaker Steak.
Looking to get Shaylee Bade on the show and Andrew Kaziski for next weekend. Hopefully we can pull through with those. We'll let you know later on in the week via the Facebook page. For Dirk Houston, I'm Dan Taylor. This has been The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
NASCAR returns to Kansas Speedway May 13th. Here's some reasons to be there. Reason number 88, Dale Flippin Jr. Enough said. Number 2, Keselowski-style cold ones are always BYOB. Reason 78, your memory of Martin Truex Jr. will be both crystal clear and a blur. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Go Bowling 400, live, Saturday night, May 13th. Tickets at KansasSpeedway.com.
The official watering hole of the Front Stretch has you covered any day of the week with the best wings, great burgers, and amazing steaks. Each weekday from 4 to 6 is happy hour, featuring $1 off draft and well drinks plus $4 Luberitas. Mondays are kids' night. Tuesdays are all-you-can-eat wings for $12.95, and the lube even delivers to the Council Bluffs area. Like Quaker Steak and Lube Council Bluffs on Facebook for a full list of weekly events.
Get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Mid-America Drive, Council Bluffs.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100-plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
This has been the Front Stretch Radio Show, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. To contact Dan or Dirk, find them on Facebook at The Front Stretch or email them at frontstretch590@gmail.com. If you missed any part of today's show or want to hear a previous show, subscribe to the Joe's Karting YouTube page where you can find almost every Front Stretch show.